extensive coral bleaching at reefs across Tobago. THA unveils newly renovated bus shed through PPP strategy. FIU director advises against buying US from visitors. And in sports, Signal Hill Secondary dominates Intercol Tobago zone. Good evening, I am Lavian Cupid. Welcome to the Tobago Updates Television News for Monday, 25th November 2024. To our top story. Tobago may no longer be able to boast about having one of the largest brain corals in the world, as the iconic brain coral in Speyside is currently experiencing widespread coral bleaching. This alarming development was reported by marine biologists from the Institute of Marine Affairs following their survey of reefs around the island. They noted extensive bleaching, which poses a serious risk, including threats to Tobago's tourism industry, increased coastal erosion, and a decline in fish populations. Candice Jackson has more in the details.
Iconic or not, reefs around Tobago have been unable to escape the level 5 coral bleaching event. This includes Speyside, the home of the largest brain coral in the Western Hemisphere, as confirmed by IMA marine biologist Hannah Lochan.
I mean, we know it's old, it's under stress, it does have some old mortality, it does have some tissue loss, but when we went, the left-hand side is how it was. It is bleaching.
The coral bleaching is extensive across Tobago's reefs. Culloden Bay, bleached. Angel Reef, fully bleached. Melville Drift, bleached. Booby Island, bleached with some mortality. Mount Irving Reef, bleached with partial mortality. Buku Reef, bleached with 100% mortality in Elcon coral. Coral Gardens bleached with partial mortality. Marine biologist Dr. Anjani Ganesh reported that all the corals on all reefs are most at risk.
We saw severe bleaching at all the sites, right? And most of the bleaching was with the large colonies of the old and long-lived species. So at least a couple hundred years old for the star corals, for the brain corals, and other massive corals that are very common and critical to the ecosystems of Tobago.
Sensitive species like the star coral in Speyside are nearly wiped out, with only smaller colonies surviving. Meanwhile, boulder corals across all reefs are showing clear signs of bleaching.
So there is a chance of recovery, but if the thermal stress carries on for a long time, the likelihood of recovery becomes less and less.
To give corals the best chance at recovery, Dr. Anjani Ganesh advised divers and spear fishermen to disinfect their equipment between dives to prevent the spread of stony coral disease, which would worsen the situation. She also emphasized that corals should not be touched.
And I'm thinking, when you have spear fishers or persons that are more likely, divers that are more likely to come in contact, accidental or intentional, that we do not touch the corals at all, right? Our breaking that tissue can cause other diseases to happen.
Most importantly, preserving species that feed on algae and dead coral is crucial for the reef's recovery.
And how you prevent that is, one, keeping our herbivores alive, so the parrotfish, the sea urchins.
Dr. Ganesh noted that sea urchins are already playing a role in aiding the recovery of bleached corals.
I was very happy, even though it was sad to observe high mortality of the Elcon at Buku Reef, that there were a lot of urchins on there already grazing the dead skeletons, keeping it clean for corals to naturally recruit and grow.
Other species critical to the recovery of bleached corals include conchs and crabs. The IMA encourages the public to report any sightings of coral bleaching or coral tissue damage. Candice Jackson, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Environmentalists and reef stakeholders express little hope for the recovery of Tobago's coral reefs following the devastating level 5 coral bleaching event. The Institute of Marine Affairs has reported widespread bleaching across all reefs, including Speyside's iconic brain coral. With Tobago's reefs on the verge of collapse, urgent action is necessary, potentially including a complete overhaul of how reef tours are conducted. More from reporter Candice Jackson.
Environmentalists and stakeholders are disheartened after learning from the IMA about the severe extent of coral bleaching affecting Tobago's reefs.
I'm usually an optimist, but I don't see this ending well. It's going to end when the reef is totally dead.
But the information here, if it doesn't serve as a wake-up call to us in Tobago, that changes are about to happen in terms of the environment, the marine environment, I don't know what else will wake us up.
There's no good news. The reef is more or less dead. They were showing us coral that's dead. We also didn't see fishes.
Alvin Douglas, owner of Frontier Divers, stressed that authorities must act swiftly and decisively to put measures in place to protect the reef.
We can't do anything about the global warming, but what we can do is on our part is to lessen the stress that we cause on the reef by making sure policies to prevent us from hunting like the parrotfish.
Parrotfish, sea urchins, conchs, and crabs are crucial for coral recovery following coral bleaching. Meanwhile, Marine Park Manager Barry Loveless emphasized the need for a balance between tourism and environmental objectives.
We have to use the reef. We cannot say don't use the reef, but how do we do it, right? We have to come to an understanding where everybody is the people who are gaining livelihood from the reef can do so sustainably and leave it intact for their children.
This may require a shift in the current culture of parties on reef tour boats in the Buku Reef Marine Park. Sean McCoon, the Tourism Division's Protocol and International Relations Officer, stated that it is time for all stakeholders to embrace responsible tourism.
So responsible tourism is a way in which we can also sell our destination as being a space where people are responsible about the natural environment, they are concerned about sustainable tourism.
Without immediate and decisive action, Bertrand Beccari, president of Environment Tobago, warns that Tobago risks losing its biggest tourist attraction. Candice Jackson, Tobago Updates, Television News.
Dominion Appliances has responded to the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development's initiative to adopt a bus shed. The initiative found favor with Vern Joseph, owner of Dominion Appliances, who was already exploring ways to give back to the community. He spoke at the ribbon-cutting ceremony for the newly renovated bus shed at Orkinscure Buku Bay Road Junction along the Claude Noel Highway.
And we see this as a good initiative, and we look at the bus shed and we said this is going to be outstanding. So we came up with the idea that we're going to approach the division and to recommend that this one and one down by the church that we are going to develop, make it our branding, make it visible for us also.
Orlando Kerr, Assistant Secretary in the Division of Settlements, Public Utilities and Rural Development, welcomed this public-private partnership and explained that it is just one of many ways the THA is encouraging collaboration with the private sector.
There's no secret that we have a situation where we have a lot of our bus sheds in Tobago that needs to be renovated, and the budget that we have is really not sufficient to do that. So therefore we are engaging corporate Tobago and NGOs as well to come on board and assist Tobago in renovating and in some instances building our new bus sheds.
Meanwhile, Secretary Ian Pollard expressed his pleasure that the first business to answer the call was a schoolmate and fellow footballer.
So this is great friendship. I know Bertie Sinclair would be proud to know that two of his students are here collaborating, private sector and public sector. So Vern, I want to thank you for jumping on board with the division, and we hope that much more will be done by your company.
An audit of all bus sheds across Tobago is currently underway, and the division is inviting the private sector to assist with the renovations by following Dominion Appliances' example. We'll take a break and come back with more. Please stay tuned.
And 484-4746, Tobago. Relax, we will get it to you. Tobago's at your service. You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Welcome back. The Financial Intelligence Unit of the Trinidad and Tobago has advised against buying US dollars from visiting relatives and friends. During a joint select committee meeting on finance and legal affairs last Friday, Director Nigel Stoddard stated that the buying and selling of foreign currency must be conducted through a licensed dealer. More in this report.
The FIU of Trinidad and Tobago sat before the JSC last Friday with clear objectives, including determining the money laundering, terrorist financing risks and trends in Trinidad and Tobago and determining the effectiveness of policies to treat those issues. In his opening remarks, the director of the FIU, Nigel Stoddard, mentioned the unit's role and efforts in combating money laundering, terrorist financing, and proliferation financing. Regarding Forex, when asked about the operations of local retailers who advertise the purchasing of foreign currency, Stoddard said that action is outside the remit of the FIU and lies with the central bank, which determines the trade in foreign currency.
What you would have described, remember, is outside of the FIU remit in terms of what the FIU would actually be privy to in most instances would be what the financial institutions or the listed business report us via STRs.
In response to Director Stoddard's comments, Patrick Solomon, Inspector of Financial Institutions at the Central Bank, said that one must be authorized to buy and sell foreign exchange in compliance with the Exchange Control Act. When further questioned about the money laundering risk involved in buying foreign currency from relatives on vacation and local retailers accepting foreign currency for goods and services, Solomon said that the act is an offence. However, the central bank is considering potential amendments to the legislation.
Risk base depends on what are the significant activities, and then you categorize them into high, medium, and low. So the example that you're giving will be a low risk activity. but it's still an offense, and we haven't devoted a lot of time in that particular activity. So we know it exists, and we know we are doing risk-based, and therefore we would look at possible amending of the legislation.
According to Chapter 79.50, Section 6.1 of the Exchange Control Act, except with the permission of the bank, transactions involving buying and selling or borrowing and lending of foreign currency should only be conducted through authorized dealers. Through a notice posted on their website dated November 14th, the central bank advised the public of the 13 licensed foreign exchange dealers along with 4 authorized bureau de change operators. Adana Kambi, Tobago Updates Television News.
The topic of Tobago's autonomy is still relevant as conversations surrounding moving forward and amendments to the bills continue. During an interview on Tobago Updates Morning Show, PNM Tobago political leader Senator Ansel Dennis spoke about the direct benefits to Tobago should the bills be passed. Here is more from Adana Kambi.
Senator Ansel Dennis on Tobago's autonomy said that while no bill will ever be perfect, he believes that there are many benefits to moving forward with the bills before the Parliament. He said that autonomy is not about separating from Trinidad, but remaining part of the unitary state, with Tobago gaining some lawmaking authorities. Dennis said one of the main benefits is the increased budgetary allocation.
And we have a bill that moves the minimum allocation to the Tobago House of Assembly from the national budget from 4.03% to 6.8% in the context of the new Tobago Island government. And what will that mean in dollars and cents? It means that the allocation last September of $2.559 billion could actually be $4.06 billion if that law was in effect.
He addressed the increase in the development budget and how that allocation can contribute to the growth of the Tobago economy.
Can you imagine a situation where we in Tobago are able to move that from just about $500 million per year to $1.5 billion per year? Can you imagine what that will do to the economy of Tobago, especially if you have an administration that has as their policy that the money will be spent in Tobago, utilizing Tobago contractors, utilizing Tobago talent, Tobago skills, Tobago labor, Tobago businesses, Tobago contractors to conduct that development.
Other benefits highlighted by Senator Dennis are lawmaking authorities and additional administrative oversight, including the creation of a division with responsibility for legal affairs, which would be managed by a secretary. He emphasized that the THA's existing responsibilities will remain intact, with additional duties being incorporated within its remit. Adana Kambi, Tobago Updates Television News.
Yesterday, the PNM Tobago Council hosted a youth panel discussion at Barcode on the topic of autonomy for Tobago. PNM Youth's Jada Charles, chairman of Tobago East Youth League, and Justin John, Labour and Relations Officer and chairman of the West Youth League, along with political leader Ansel Dennis, led the discussions. Jada emphasized that the bills offer Tobagonians the opportunity to govern their own affairs.
We have an opportunity now to realize and recognize and self-actualize a dream that is Tobago, a dream that is Tobago's self-governance, a dream that is the right to our self-determination as a people.
John highlighted a key aspect of the bill, the allocation of 6.8% of the national budget to Tobago. He said this funding will drive development, particularly in infrastructure, and create new job opportunities, fueling the island's economic growth.
I believe that once we have these bills now, and that 6.8, we're going to be able to put more into that sector. We're going to build our development side, going to have more job opportunities, and we could even see persons branching out into new areas.
He also highlighted that the bills would create a division of legal affairs, allowing Tobago to make its own laws.
Why are we not having any answers? What is supposed to come? We are now going to have the opportunity to talk to those who are actually going to make the change, make the laws, and then when the laws are passed, make any amendments that we see fit as young people.
Meanwhile, Charles added that the sustainability of Tobago's environment will also be addressed under the autonomy bills.
Autonomy offers the executive of the Tobago legislature to have the powers to really govern the affairs of Tobago in terms of agriculture and marine wildlife. So I think that offers us the autonomy to continue to sustain our environment in that way, because
Political leader Ansel Dennis stressed that initiatives like the panel discussion are vital for empowering young people to actively shape the future and influence decisions that impact the island's progress.
Have a tremendous responsibility in preparing young people and giving them opportunities such as this to be part of the conversation and to be placed in positions of decision making. Even our MP for Tobago West.
You're watching the Tobago Updates television news. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Tobago Updates. Our sports report is up next. Don't go anywhere.
Attention members, now is your chance to double or even triple your dividend payment with no increase in your existing loan payment. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to boost your dividends effectively. Whether you're planning a vacation or simply looking to maximize your savings, we've got you covered. Call us today at 639-8226 or 631-1336. Message us on Facebook for more information. Hurry, this offer won't last long. Bethel Credit Union, because we see you at BCU.
Coming up, Friendship 7K excitement, local business support in St. Martin, greater air travel to destinations like Barbuda, accommodated in style, the contributions of Raymond Lawrence. It's all next on this station.
Welcome back. Signal Hill Secondary made a bold statement last Friday, sweeping both boys and girls titles in the Coca-Cola Tobago Zone Intercol Finals at the Dwight York Stadium. With thrilling performances and dramatic finishes, the stage is now set for their journey to the national quarterfinals. Marcus Daniel has the details.
Signal Hill Secondary triumph over rival Scarborough Secondary, claiming both the boys and girls at secondary schools football Coca-Cola Tobago Zone Intercol title last Friday at the Dwight York Stadium. In the opening match of the doubleheader, The Signal Hill girls delivered a commanding performance, overwhelming Scarborough with a resounding 7-1 victory to unseat the reigning 2023 Tobago Intercol champions. Takaya Dennis stole the spotlight with a hat-trick, while Aliyah Baptiste, Madison Campbell, Kelalicia Taylor and Sky Thomas also found the back of the net for Signal Hill. Serenity Charles managed to score Scarborough's solitary goal. The boys' final proved to be a more tightly contested battle, with Signal Hill securing a dramatic 2-1 win through a last-minute goal by Damario Henry in the second minute of the second half stoppage time. Signal Hill's prolific scorer Kyle James opened the scoring in the 16th minute, but Scarborough's Amar Bacchus equalized just before half-time in the 44th minute, setting up a tense second half. As the match appeared destined for a penalty shootout, Henry capitalized on a rebound from his own long-range shot, calmly finishing from inside the penalty area to clinch the victory. Signal Hills boys will face Central Zone winners Miracle Ministries Pentecostal High School in the national quarterfinal tomorrow at the Atto Boland Stadium in Couva, while the girls will take on St. Joseph's Convent Port of Spain in their quarterfinal on Wednesday. Good luck to the Tobago teams. Marcus Daniel, Tobago Update Sports.
The stage is now set for an exciting showdown in the 2024 Tobago Football Association FA Cup final, as the Leeds United and Roxborough Lakers secured their spots with contrasting semi-final victories at the Dwight York Stadium. With both teams delivering standout performances, all eyes are now on the grand finale later this month. Marcus Daniel has more in this report.
Signal Hill Secondary and Scarborough Secondary, two fierce rivals, are set to clash in the Coca-Cola Intercol Tobago Zone final on November 20th at the Dwight York Stadium. Signal Hill earned their spot with a 2-0 victory over Bishop's High School in the first semi-final last Tuesday. Despite dominating possession, they struggled to break through as Bishop's goalkeeper delivered an outstanding performance. The deadlock was finally broken in the 87th minute when an unfortunate own goal gave Signal Hill the lead. Deep into stoppage time, Israel Trim secured the win with a low, powerful strike. The second semi-final was a dramatic encounter between Speyside High School and Scarborough Secondary, which ended in a penalty shootout after a 2-2 draw in regulation time. Speyside took control early, with Daviel Thomas opening the scoring in the 51st minute and Miles Johnson doubling the lead just after halftime in the 47th minute. Facing a 2-0 deficit, Scarborough mounted a remarkable comeback. Jaime Tony pulled one back in the 80th minute, and Keneal Davidson delivered a stunning equalizer with a sublime free kick 6 minutes into added-on time. In the penalty shootout, Scarborough Secondary kept their composure, converting 4 of their attempts. The Speyside's 3, completing an impressive comeback victory. Scarborough now advances to the final, aiming to secure the Tobago double after already winning the league title. The thrilling showdown awaits. Marcus Daniel, Tobago Update Sports.
That's it for our sports report. More news and the weather report up next.
Black Friday starts now at Quartz. Get new and amazing deals every week with the lowest prices on the hottest electronics, top-of-the-line appliances, and stylish furniture. No need to waste your time shopping around. Plus, you can shop now and pay us in February 2025. Black Friday starts now. Don't miss out. Quartz, bringing value home.
Artlist.io.
I tell people nurses are not just nurses in the region. We really do owe them sincere appreciation, love, gratitude.
Meeting people in a vulnerable state, it's definitely a calling. And that's why I chose this profession.
We appreciate these people for really bringing us through challenging times. We appreciate you. We love you.
Be viewing Caribbean Medical TV on this station.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your to them once again. They better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below, 'cause this is your show. Do more, live more.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. In an ongoing effort to curb crime, including gun violence, possession of illegal firearms, and illegal drugs, among other offenses, the TTPS conducted an anti-crime operation in some districts in Tobago last Friday. Officers from the Interagency Task Force, Guard and Emergency Branch embarked on the exercise in the Crown Point, Sherburne and Scarborough districts from 10 a.m. and concluded at 5 p.m. The officers discovered and seized 297 grams of cannabis that were concealed in a bag and hidden in the bushes along Robert Street in Bonaccord. Additionally, during a roadblock exercise along the Claude Noel Highway, officers issued 10 fixed penalty notices for various traffic offences. On the same day, in Shafford Court Plannings in Trinidad, between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., officers discovered and seized a P80 Glock firearm with a magazine containing 16 rounds of ammunition. The exercises were spearheaded by ACP Hazel with a Senior Superintendent Spence, Superintendent Ramsar, ASP Simon, Inspector Ali, ACP Subero, Senior Superintendent Eli, Senior Superintendent Mont Richard, and Superintendent Frank. The TTPS remains committed to detecting criminal activities and apprehending perpetrators of crime throughout Trinidad and Tobago. Now for a look at our weather report from the Trinidad and Tobago Met Office. The weather tonight is expected to be generally fair despite a few showers, mainly after midnight. Temperatures will drop to a low of 25 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, a few showery spells, particularly during the early morning, will interrupt a generally sunny and at times breezy day. There remains a low chance of thunderstorm activity. A generally fair night is anticipated. Daytime temperatures will reach a high of 32 degrees Celsius with a heat index of 35 degrees Celsius. Seas are expected to be moderate with waves near 2 meters in open waters and near 1 meter in sheltered areas. Sunrise is at 6:04 a.m. and sunset at 5:36. And a recap, and that's how we end this evening's newscast. Here's a recap of our headlines. Extensive coral bleaching at reefs across Tobago. THA unveils a newly renovated bus shed through PPP strategy. FIU director advises against buying US from visitors. And in sports, Signal Hill Secondary dominates Intercol Tobago zone. I'm Lavian Cupid. Thank you so much for joining us and have a good night.